floor in front of my couch, just like my first video. It's nap time. No baby. So today I'm going to be talking about just a recap of the end of my contact nap journey. So let's get started. I have notes. We're just gonna hop onto it. I'm probably gonna be fidgeting. So my first video, I was just right in the thick of it, in the thick of contact napping, and I just spoke to you. I had no agenda, I had no notes, I just spoke from the heart. But someone reached out to me on Instagram that they found my YouTube channel, found my video, and it helped them, and it made me feel so whole because that's the first time anyone has ever reached out to me about my content being helpful. So I am doing this also as a love letter to myself. And I know future me is crying for the intro because I have this beautiful intro planned out, and if I did it the way I saw it, future me's crying right now. Editing future me, but I'm gonna just go into my notes. So I am actually going to be talking about my journey from my contact napping from 8 months to 22 months. I say 22 because she just stopped contact napping right before she turned 2 months before she turned 2. And we've had some hiccups along the way. We've had a couple contact naps after, but it was kind of circumstantial. It depended if she was starting to get a little cold, or if she was just scared, had a bad park day, or if we just missed her. It was mostly Chris that did most of the contact napping because he works so much that he longs for that physical just bonding with the baby, and she loves it. If it means that she can feel, you know, loved, safe, nurtured, then it's a win-win, and mama gets to have time to herself. So this is just a full recap if you want to see my first video, but this is just going to be a contact nap journey from newborn all the way up until essentially 2 years. So when I had wrote this down, she had been taking consistent naps in her crib for a week and a half. I wanted to wait to a 2-week mark until I started to record something, and I recorded something and I hated it. I deleted it. It's not gonna see the light of day. So this is me taking time out now to talk to you, to make this video very raw, the way I usually make my videos. She's probably gonna wake up in 30 minutes. I hope to finish recording by then. So a little quick recap from my first video. Things that didn't work for us, because we had everybody, everything, websites, mommy blogs telling us, you know, how to help her not contact nap. You know, it was seen as a very bad thing. Oh, you can't let her get used to that. That's a bad habit, you know, and we were nervous. It made us scared, but we tried everything. We tried the weighted sleep sack. We tried sleep training for like 2 weeks, didn't work. It made me cry more than the baby, and I did not want to trigger a postpartum depression because I didn't actually go through that. We tried the chair method. We tried the pickup. We tried chair method of being available but not picking up. We tried pacifier. She didn't like it. She didn't like sleep sacks. She wasn't a fan of loveys or blankets, and she did not like lullabies. Like, after a while, she did like it when I sang to her in terms of like humming, not actual song lyrics. But that was when she like had a huge cry fit, and she was just, you know, but after it was just made up songs. So those things didn't work for us, and it wasn't that it was like a aha moment, because at first we contact napped in the first 2 months because they said skin to skin contact was healthy for the baby, so I'm not just going to put her in the crib. So it was actually kind of a security blanket for us to bond, you know, between dad and daughter and me and my baby. And then after a while we got nervous because we're like, okay, she does not want to get put down at all. And I ended up figuring certain hacks along the way. She was actually really small, a late baby. She was 2 days late, but she was almost born premature, like she was 5 pounds. So she just felt so small and fragile. So doing things like the boppy or the baby bjorn, it didn't feel like she was being comfortable, like she was comfortable or being like protected, because all I kept worrying about was her bones and her skin. And but after a while, when she gained some weight, I ended up being able to maneuver that. But when she turned 9 months, we just accepted the contact nap. We stopped trying all these methods. I spent so much money trying wavy blankets and sound machines and this, that, and the third. She loves the sound machine, by the way, but it took some time. But while she was 9 months, we accepted the contact nap fully, and we stopped trying to transfer her into the crib because it would just disrupt her sleep. She sleeps better with Chris than she does with me. If she fell asleep on me, I would transfer her over to him, because one of the problems that I had, because I was exclusively breastfeeding, was that if she would wake up mid-nap, she would try and look for a boob, and that would disrupt her sleep for the most part. And we didn't want to keep putting her back in the crib because there was this fear of losing our night sleep. The comments that people make of like, oh, if she skips a nap during the day, she's gonna sleep better at night. No. She will sleep 3 to 4 hours in the day, and she'll still sleep 10 hours at night. You gotta cater to her needs during the day. If she feels safe, nurtured during the day, then if and when we do transfer her to the crib, she'll sleep in 4 to 5 hour increments, you know. And then back then, I also didn't know that that was technically sleeping through the night. There was a lot of like naivety and just certain things that I wasn't aware of, because things get blurred a lot in terms of the information that you can receive, you know, or the information that people tell you. So I thought that there was something wrong with the child, that she wasn't sleeping straight through the night. It took 2 years to figure it out, and I'm just like, no, she was fine. Everybody else is just making me feel like crap. So just, you gotta find your people and kind of let them support you when it comes to how you raise your kid, because everybody's gonna raise their kid differently. Everybody's gonna nurture their child's sleep differently. So, and this is I'm just gonna read it straight from the page. Okay, so I rewatched my contact nap video and I have some thoughts. I originally recorded this video as a rant because I was trying to mimic my first video, but it turned out really weird, and then at some point I wasn't even talking about contact napping. So I'm gonna do some more bullet points and approach it that way. So one issue that we did have along the way is that she was starting to skip a couple of her naps. So we were worried that it was probably the transition from crib naps, from contact nap to crib naps, or everything kind of happened simultaneously. It could have been also weaning. I was also in the process of weaning her. And so, or I was also, I said here, I don't know if it's just her self-awareness, because she's also reaching that 2-year mark where I feel like there's a little bit of FOMO in kids, where she just doesn't want to miss out because she's having so much fun during the day. So the easiest part of contact napping was the fact that it was just like, it actually forced me to slow down. A lot of motherhood is there is no rest. There's no rest. It's not that there's no sleep, because you know that they say sleep when the baby's sleeping. No, it's technically rest when the baby's sleeping. Sleep if you can. I can't fall asleep that fast. I'm not that talented. But there's no such thing as rest, because if you want to have a flawless, smooth, easy transition from nap to your second wind of the day or your third wind of the day, then you need to set yourself up for success. Depending if your baby's bottle fed, breastfed, if they're in the baby-led weaning phase, if they're a toddler, there are certain things that you need to prepare. So I'm going off on a small tangent, but it's the easiest part was that it forced me to rest, because now that she is sleeping in her crib, there is no rest. I put her in, I will wash a couple loads, I will pick up this huge mess, I will start meal prepping, I will clean the kitchen, I will take a shower, and then before you know it, I'm only sitting down for about 10 minutes before she wakes up. So it actually forced me to take a second just breathe. And I also got to just absorb her and really just memorize all of the lines and her smells and her sounds. So that was kind of the easiest part. The hardest part of contact napping was the sheer hunger and the stress of everything that needed to get done. The food preparation, prepping the bottle, pumping. Sometimes I would leak while she would contact nap on me because she was cluster feeding. Hold on, I'm sorry, my foot is falling asleep. She was cluster feeding what felt like 3/4 of her first year. So my supply was a lot. Even though I was exclusively breastfeeding, I also pumped for the first like 4 months. And I had a nice big stash in the freezer. And then that kind of went to crap because then she stopped taking the bottle. That's for the breastfeeding video. But yeah, one of the hardest parts about contact napping was the fact that if I had to pee, I had to hold it. Or if she was small enough, I had to figure out a way how to hold her and then pee at the same time. Or the hunger, because when you're breastfeeding, you get so hungry and thirsty. And then when she wakes up, the first thing she wants is more food. She wants comfort. You gotta change her diaper, so you can't just eat the minute they wake up. And or if because she wasn't even on the schedule sleeping, she just fell asleep whenever she wanted to. If I had just put laundry to wash and she's asleep on me, her clothes are just gonna sit there for as long as she wants to sleep. Mind you, I know that everybody was giving me their 2 cents, their advice, their thoughts. It just didn't work for me. I wasn't receiving it well. I was new mom status. I wanted to do what I thought was best for my child, and if she slept best on me, that's what I did. I wasn't really on board with developing a schedule. I was, for the first year to year and a half, it was very much just she kind of told me what she needed. She kind of set her own schedule, but it was very much like, you're gonna take a nap? Okay, cool. I can use this as a break. You know, when she turned 1.5-ish, that's when we started to see a little bit like, okay, she's starting to fall asleep between 10 and 2. That's, you know, her wake window, and she takes 3 naps between these times, so I have to watch her tired cues. And then after a while, when she started getting older, I'm like, okay, I have to pay attention to when she's going to start dropping her first nap, start dropping her second nap. She ended up dropping, she took 3 naps a day. She dropped 2 on her own. It was beautiful. So how did we get through it? Plan, routine. So how we got through contact napping for almost 2 years was just a lot of communication. The plan was, since she slept better on Chris, if she fell asleep on me, I would transfer her to him. It also allowed me to do things like eat, take a shower, pick up the house, and he would actually truly long for that. That's just quality time, physical affection, all of that. And then she woke up, she would wake up so happy, but like frumpy and dusty, and it was adorable, sweaty. She loved contact napping on him. She did a lot of the contact napping with Chris. But it was more so like sometimes I wanted to contact nap because sometimes I didn't get a good night's sleep. And if he just wanted to chill, I wanted him to chill. And then, so it was just communication. Or if I had no choice but to contact nap, I would tell him, babe, I am hungry. You need to make me something. And then I would literally have her either cradled here or up, and I'd be eating with another hand, or he would feed me. So it really is just like communication is key. And we also tried to have some sort of plan and routine, like, okay, you contact nap, you take the early shift, I take the night shift. So how we got through it was just a lot of communication, and we kind of had to talk it out and talk about what our plan was and how it worked for us and what we wanted to have happen that day. Because sometimes, you know, days change. How did I cope personally? Because contact napping and solely breastfeeding, it was a lot of touching for me. So I was definitely touched out most of the days. So how I coped was actually trying to tag Chris in as much as possible. I also, you know, like I said, you got to find your people. So I had nobody surrounding me physically that was like on board with the contact napping. Nobody was just like, yeah, that's so good, you know, it helps their circulatory system, it helps regulate emotions. No, I found that through the internet. I found a beautiful page called Mother Nourish Nature. She's on IG, and I just followed her, and it was daily affirming. She would post stories, she would post posts, and it had to do with like mama share and contact napping and breastfeeding and co-sleeping and nip naps and all the things that you can think about. And it made me feel so validated in my decision to just let her contact nap, because for like 2 weeks to a month I really tried to like tear that away from her, and I was like, this isn't working. I'm trying to do this so that I could have a certain, you know, life, but it's not what she needed. And you can't really try, and I don't think you can train and force every kid. I think if your child is more susceptible or more, what's that word, open, I guess, to, I don't know, receiving the training. It sounds really weird and stupid how I'm saying this, because they're babies, so you're probably thinking to yourself, if you're one that has sleep trained successfully, congratulations. It didn't work for me. My best friend sleep trained successfully, but even sleep training has its downfalls, you know. The beautiful thing about contact napping was that she literally fell asleep anywhere, with noise, in light, in darkness, because all she needed was us. A perfectly sleep trained baby cannot just sleep anywhere. So like, you have to be in their crib, it has to be routine, lights out, blackout curtains, you know, like sleep sack, bottle. No, like, she'll knock out in my arms on the train, and she'll stay asleep the whole time for like an hour, 2 hours. So there was a lot of benefits, pros and cons. It's gonna happen with any decision you make, but this page is what encouraged me. It solidified my choice. It also helped me cope, because if I was having a particularly tough day, I would read a post, a mama share, and it would help me look at my particular circumstances through the baby's eyes. And it snapped me out of like my funk, or, you know, just the, what do you call that, when you compared yourself. It stopped the comparison struggle that I had. So I would compare myself to my best friend all the time, and it was a struggle. And we were very open, very candid. There was a lot of love. There was no there was a lot of must be nice. But she successfully sleep trained her son at 4 months, and I was already going on 2 years of contact napping. It was hard, but let's talk about how I did it. So I started noticing that she was sleeping not as good on me anymore. She started to sleep less on me, and there was one time that I just decided to put her down on the sofa because she was fussing so much and I had to pee. Put her down on the sofa. I went to go pee. I was frustrated. It was just one of those times. And she stayed asleep for an extra hour and a half on the sofa. It was hysterical. And then there was another time where she was fussing so much that I just thought, let me try and put her in the crib. Put her in the crib. She slept for like almost 3 hours. And I thought a couple of times it was a fluke. So, you know, I tried to put her down in our bed. We got her a nice little fold-out sofa here that is folds out into a bed thing. So how we did it basically was we stopped allowing her to contact nap on us, right? So it kind of, like I said earlier, went hand in hand with the weaning. So what ended up happening was that we ended up actually taking her out like 2-3 times a day, because I was trying to wean her off breastfeeding, and it was taking her out that wore her out. It stimulated her enough, and on the way back home she would fall asleep in the stroller. So rather than take her out of the stroller and put her in the crib, we just left her in the stroller. And that worked like a charm. So that was our routine. Between 10 and 12, we would take her out to the park, walk back home, she would fall asleep. And she would nap between either 11 and 2, 12 and 3, depending if she took an hour and a half, sometimes 3-hour nap. And that worked for us. Not to say it's going to work for your child. Children at her age are supposed to sleep 12 to 14 hours. I know they say don't go past the 2-hour mark, like for naps, daytime naps, but sometimes she will sleep 3 hours. She will wake up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock sometimes. She'll still knock out at 9 o'clock and sleep 10 hours. So I feel like it's just circumstantial. It depends on how you entertain your child during the day, how much mental stimulation, and how you put them to bed. I also noticed that she needs to let out all of her zoomies right before she goes to sleep. So there's a lot of chasing, there's a lot of tickling that happens. We're talking about contact napping. So there was one time that she fell asleep in the stroller, but we were expecting company. So I took her out of the stroller, I placed her in her crib, and she stayed down for 2 hours. And so it was the transition from letting her fall asleep, not on us, not letting her fall, not allowing her to contact nap, that it weaned her off the contact nap, so that there were times that when she would fall asleep on us, she would wake up 30 minutes and 45 minutes and she won't sleep for very long. So what ended up happening is that, you know, set the mood, put some chill out music on, put the sound machine on, start walking around with her, or just start doing stuff. I was doing laundry. She fell asleep on me in the middle of me doing laundry. It wasn't a straight contact nap because I'm moving around. There's noise, there's music going around. So when I went to the room to put her down in her crib, she stayed down because that's an ideal sleeping situation. I would rock her, you know, because she's the kind of baby that she needs a little soothing to sleep. I don't try to fight against that because as adults, I need soothing to sleep. Why am I going to try and train that innate, normal, ingrained characteristic in her when, as her mother, as a human being, it's something that I still need. It's something my husband needs. You want to take a shower, you want to eat a little late night snack, light a candle, if you need a weighted blanket, if you need a white noise machine, and you're 32 years old, who are you to say that a baby can do without? They can't even regulate their emotions. Like, that's not nice, it's not fair. So yeah, and then it ended up just turning into a routine of the minute she starts to whine a lot, I'm noticing that's her cue. Never used to be, but that's her cue now as a toddler because she's starting to talk and there's a lot of sense of independence. She will lift her arms up, she'll basically grab her sound machine and give it to me, and she'll tell me when she's ready for bed, for naps. And I'll rock her to sleep, I'll give her some kisses, I'll even go on the rocking chair in her room and continue rocking her in there, and then I will gently place her in her crib, and then I'll walk out. And that's kind of how we transitioned her from contact napping to sleeping in her crib to napping in her crib. And it's worked like a charm. It's been, I don't even know how long it's been actually. If my notes here says that she stopped taking contact naps for a week and a half and she was 22 months and her birthday passed already, that means it's been 3 months and she has been successfully napping in her crib. You know, give or take here and there are certain things that happen in your life during the day that can disrupt that routine, but just try not to get so messed up about it. Just let it fly. Try again the next day. She contact napped on me 2 days ago. She's sleeping very well in her room right now. You know, it's just sometimes they just need a little extra love, you know, and security and warmth. So that is my contact napping journey. I don't even want to say that I miss contact napping because I can still have it if I want to. It's just she's so big and she is full-fledged eating like 3 meals, 4 or 5 meals a day. So when she wakes up, she's gonna be starving. So I have to have her meal ready for her snacks ready for when she wakes up. But it's been a journey. I don't regret it. It was touch and go. There were some very, very hard moments where I would be rocking her and I would be crying, that I would be starving, that I would be in pain because I have to use the bathroom or I have to pump. But these are just the silent sacrifices that we make as parents. I'm not even gonna say as mothers, as parents, because there were many times that Chris had to use the bathroom and he just held it because she was sleeping on him. But I wouldn't change it. It's a sacrifice that I'm happy I made. She is a full-fledged cuddler. It's great. I live for the cuddles. I cannot wait till she wakes up. I want to sniff her sweaty neck. So that's the end of this video. I don't know what I could have missed out. I don't know if I left anything out, if there are actual questions that I could answer, but I've been dying to roll this out because my contact nap journey has ended. She's been sleeping successfully since, I'm gonna say 12:30. It's 2:30 now, so she should be waking up. I take a picture every time she falls asleep. She fell asleep at 12:40 and it's 2:36, so she should be waking. She'll wake up in a split second. It'll be hilarious. So I am going to whip up some lunch for the both of us. I'll probably make some homemade pizza, and that's that. Leave a comment if you have any questions, if I missed anything, if you agreed with anything. Keep it positive. This was my journey. I in no way am an expert. It was trial and error with my tips and tricks. There's a lot of reading of articles, watching a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of vlogs, and you know, it's kind of like the days are long, the years are short. I can't believe she's 2 years old, and it felt like forever while you're in it. So that's it for this video, guys. Bye. Hi, Mama. Hi, gorgeous. Did you have a good nap? Look at you. Hi. You can turn this off.